Well, hello. It is Friday, October the 15th, 2021, and it's time for another episode of AMA Air. Coming up today, we're going to introduce you guys to the October Club of the Month.
We're also going to talk about October Build Month.
And we're going to tell you a little bit about modeling records and what that means for folks like you. All that and more coming up today on AMA Air. Well, welcome back to another episode of AMA Air. My name is Matt Ruddick, and hey, over here to my right, we got Lee Ray back this week. Hello, Lee.
Hello, Matt. Happy to be back.
Well, welcome back. We're happy to have you back. You know, you were out on the last episode because you were off going to some different events around the state of Texas, and I gotta say I was a little jealous. Wish I could have been there doing the same with you, but we're glad that you're back now. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the cool stuff that you saw?
Well, I have been on the road. I have been going to a lot of events, but this one I went to during the last AMA Air show was called BEST. Stands for Best Electrics in South Texas. It has been around for 18-ish years. we don't talk about last year. I have gone to 8. Well, this is, I guess, the 19th year in a row, but I've been to 18 of them. And it's just a wonderful all-electric flying event held by the Tri-County Barnstormers in New Waverly, Texas.
New Waverly, so that help me out. I'm geographically challenged when it comes to the state of Texas. Whereabouts in Texas would that be?
It's about 50 miles north of Houston.
Okay.
So, but it's in driving range for me. It's not a big deal, but I like to camp there. I mean, when you go to BEST and once you're in, you're sucked in by the fun. You end up camping there. I've had RVs. I usually am staying in a tent. I've had a camper. One time I slept in my truck because that was one of the early years when I wasn't sure if I was going to stay, but it's definitely an event worth attending. In fact, this year I met a good friend of mine, Sparky from Dallas. So we showed up Thursday, and then Fitz showed up, Fitz Walker from RC Roundtable Podcast. So we just hung out Thursday and Friday getting some planes built and maidened because, you don't want to do them on Saturday. And it's just a lot of fun. There's also a great hobby shop up there called New Creations in Willis, Texas. So during the nasty rains that came on Friday, Fitz and I drove up to New Creations, bought some good RC gear, and then came back, finished our planes. And then Saturday was just a nice, wonderful day. A little bit of crosswind, but a lot of smiles. We had over 30 pilots, which was actually pretty good considering that we're still doing COVID. I don't want to say lockdown, or some people are concerned, or vaccines. Well, not going to be political here, but whatever the case was, people got together. We had a lot of fun, had some good raffle items. I really enjoyed this event.
Good. That's awesome. Now, you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are going to do an episode of the RC Roundtable podcast talking a lot more in depth about BEST. Is that right?
How did you know? Who told you, Matt? Yes. So when we got back, Fitz and I just pretty much ran out the air channels of Terry Dunn because we talked, I think it was 2.5 hours of our podcast on BEST. But guys, it's worth it. And in fact, that's exactly where I found and met Terry and Fitz, and we've been best friends ever since. So I hope you get to enjoy that. That podcast should be out this weekend.
That's awesome. And that's over at rcroundtable.com. If you guys haven't subscribed to that, I suggest you do so. It's some awesome content that you guys put out over there.
Thank you.
It's, we're deep into the month of October, and one of the things we talked about on the last episode was that it's build month. And I know build month is close to your heart, Lee, because I know you've been a builder for a long time. Why don't you tell folks a little bit about some of the cool stuff we've got going on this month?
Oh, it's a lot of great stuff. So first off, enjoy Build Month. We've got a great issue of Build Month for Model Aviation. We have a contest running right now over at IFLY AMA. That's our Facebook group site. And one lucky winner, the contest, I'm sorry, let me go back to the rules and regulations. The rule is, or the process is, enjoy building, guys. Have fun with it. Take a photo of a project you're working on and share it on the iFly AMA group page with the hashtag iFlyAMA. Oh, excuse me, iBuildAMA. We have that other hashtag.
Yes.
And we have a collection of products that were given by these wonderful sponsors, Sullivan Dubrow Mile High, Retro, B&B, and Ram products. And one lucky winner, we'll just pick one at random who has used that hashtag, will win that box, and we'll announce it in November.
There's some really amazing sponsors that are involved in that, and some really cool stuff that you guys are going to be really interested to get your hands on. So be sure to get your posts up there. It doesn't matter what you guys are building, whether it's a new product or a new project rather, or a project you've been working on for a while. Share some photos and use that hashtag ibuildama and get those posts up out there so we can get entered into that contest. One of the other big things we've got going on for the month of October is our plan sale over at our AMA plan service. You can find that at modelaircraft.org/plans. If you use the code AMA20 at checkout, you can get 20% off your order at the AMA plan service. And there are thousands upon thousands of plans there to choose from. We're actually going to go into some more detail about the AMA plan service on Model Aviation Live, which is going to air at 3 p.m. Eastern today. So right after AMA Air is done, head over to modelaviation.com/live to learn a little bit more about the plan service so you can take advantage of that AMA 20% off discount.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to chime in there and say, in this current issue of Model Aviation, for the build month, there are a couple of aircraft there that have plans for free. So go online to your digital edition or grab the magazine and take a look, find the link for the plans to that aircraft, and you can get them for free. And I think there's also a link through Model Aviation for some of the plans from previous build months or reviews that have free plans. So go check that out.
Absolutely. And you can also go check out modelaircraft.org/ibuildama for our hub for build month this month. Something else we've got going on that I think is pretty cool, and I know you do too, Lee, is our AMA build tips that we've been releasing on social media over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we have build tips in the magazine, but we thought it'd be great to change it up a little bit with our social media account and show videos of quick, simple build tips from fellow AMA members and good friends of mine. So I had to harass them and say, come on, guys, give me a good tip. So I grabbed a collection of about 8 to 10 folks, and we're divvying them out on our social media page, a couple a week. And they are just quick 90-second, 120-second tips on something you might be able to use in your workshop. And if I may be so bold, I'm in one of them because I've actually used a tip on that product right there. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a piece of something between my workbench and my actual plans. I think I have plans back there too. So go check out the video. You can find them on our AMA Facebook page. And then at the end of this month, we'll take all those tips, put them in one little video as a collage, and put it on our YouTube channel.
There you go. Some amazing tips for you guys. Again, you go to facebook.com/modelaircraft. If you haven't liked our page there, please go and do that. Hey, before we continue, I want to give a shout out to some of the folks that are watching and chatting up in the chat, and say hello to Doyle Blevins, Ted Brindle, James Shepard, Steve Christoph. All those guys have said hello to us. I wanted to say hello back to you guys. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the show.
I'm going to tack on to James. James, you said you see the Corsair, but if you look closely, it's 3 Corsairs.
Hey, there you go.
I know I was blocking them, but 3 of my Corsairs. And just FYI, this is a, what do they call it? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot the name, but this is a what if model. There was never a Corsair with invasion stripes, but it sure gets a lot of attention at air events.
I actually did not know that.
Yeah, there was no D-Day Corsair, but what if there was?
But what if there was? Hey, we had a goof on the URL for the Facebook page. It's facebook.com/modelaviation. We apologize for that. Wanted to correct that before we get too far along here. Thank you to producer Dylan for giving us the heads up there.
The man.
Yes, absolutely. So guys, again, build month is going on all throughout the month of October. Modelaircraft.org/ibuildama. And again, use that hashtag ibuildama for to get entered into that giveaway and to show off some of the cool projects you have going on. Let's switch gears here. Hashtag switching gears.
Switching gears.
Because we got word. Yeah. Exactly. We got word over the last week or so about some youth breaking some national records, and we wanted to talk a little bit about that today. And to help us do that, we have our AMA technical director, Tony Stillman, joining us here on the show. Tony, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us today on AMA Air.
Hey guys, good to be on the show with you guys again.
Hey, Tony.
Glad to have you. So, Tony, you're kind of the guy that takes care of all the records as they come in and kind of keeps track of all this stuff. Tell me about what you had come across your desk over the last week.
Well, we get records from all different folks. All of our competition categories typically have records involved in them from 3 different age groups. We have a youth junior group, which is from birth to 13 years old, and then a youth senior group, which is 14 to 18, and then an adult group, which is 19 and up. And I recently received a record application from a young man on the West Coast named Henry Drew Cruz. And Henry gave us some information, and we got his dad to agree to send us some more information about him, including some cool pictures. But Henry's 8 years old. He joined the AMA a few years ago. He started building when he was 5. And so we're talking about build month. This is getting him started really early. That's a little earlier than I got started. I don't know about Lee, but I didn't start building. I was a little older than that.
I was going to say, those of you who are watching, watch out. This kid's going to do an iBuild AMA and
there you go.
Smoke us all.
Yeah. And he's using little square, 16th-inch square balsa wood and gluing it together. And we know how difficult some of that can be. Here he is putting together a wing, stick and tissue stuff. So he started with Sterling's Beginner's Thunderjet from his dad's vintage model kit collection. So here's a guy who's got a model vintage collection, and he's building them and flying them. So kudos to that. I love to see that.
That's exactly what you want. I mean, you've got to spark the interest in those youth and say, what's this? And then tell them, well, this is how we used to build planes. Oh, you can't do that. You can't build this plane. Yeah, sure I can.
You guys out there wonder what the kids are doing? Hey, here's one who's building model airplanes. Love his shirt,
Tony,
too.
That's good to know, because I actually did buy some vintage planes on an estate sale, and I'm holding on to them because I would love my kids to build some of those stick and tissue kits too.
So he started with a Gullo's Cessna 180 and built several different things. And in his club, he flies with a group of guys out of the San Diego Orbiters Model Airplane Club, and several of the folks there had some really good modelers that are part of that have helped him a little bit. They've kind of showed him the ropes and helped him with building. Sure, Dad was involved. And so he moved up the ranks, built several aircraft. Those, by 3 years, how many aircraft have you built? I bet you this guy's built 7 or 8 or 10 of them already. So, I mean, that's a lot of experience in a short little 3-year period of time. But not only did he build them, they took them to a model air event and flew in some competitions. And at that point, son and father worked together to come up with their own design of what's called a Mulva hill, which is a certain type of. And a friend of theirs, Mr. Henry, helped them with that. And they called the model a Mulva hill / Henry because it's his own kind of design. They built this airplane and he took it to this event and he was able to set a record for junior Category 2 Mulva hill. So congratulations to Henry. We've sent him a certificate. This is a copy of the certificate that he got. And he also gets some decals and is on our national record listing for national record holders, which is on our website. So there we have the link. So if you had some interest in seeing what's going on, we've got lots of national records out there, lots of youth juniors, seniors, and adults that have records. And if you think about AMA getting started in 1936, we flew free flight. That's mainly why AMA started, was for a place for competition competitors to have national rules so that the entire country could be operating from the same standards and have competitions. So we have records starting back in the 36, and even before. And so we have our historians at AMA headquarters in the museum have these records, the data, the copies of the old forms and what all was turned in, as well as plans in many cases. These folks have to send in plans for their aircraft because they have to be verified by the contest board chairman for each of these events. So this is an outdoor free flight event. And so that contest board chairman, which is Gerald Murphy, reviews these and verifies it and sends the information to me, and we post it on the website. So I would encourage you, if you've never looked at that, I think it's pretty cool to look through all these different records. And it's a great story. It's a kind of, what wakes you up to these kids that are out there. They're building, they're flying, they're competing, and they're winning, and they're kicking us old guys' butt.
Tony, you need to walk over to Kyle's desk and tell him to keep track of this kid. We need him at Camp AMA.
There you go. I totally agree with that. Yeah. That's the kind of folks that have that built into them. And apparently he's flying some RC stuff and doing all kinds of different things. So he's just a one that we want to focus on today, but of a group of kids that's out there having fun flying model airplanes.
Yeah, absolutely. And to those that say that the kids don't want to build anymore, I think this is proof positive that that's not true. Ronnie, a good friend of the show, Ronnie Epselt, the National Free Flight Society is putting a big push this year for youth. Records will fall. I hope so. I hope to see those records fall continuously. I want every kid that goes out to fly another airplane, pull down another record and set a new one. So,
yeah. And I would just say real quick, there was an event earlier this year where several youth were involved, and over a 3-day period of that competition, 5 records were set, 3 by the same person. So one set one record on Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, another person broke that record, and Sunday, it went on and on throughout the weekend. So we had 5 different records set over that event, and it was youth competing against youth. So this stuff does happen, and it's out there, and it's pretty cool to watch.
Well, that's just fantastic. I love hearing stories just like that one, and I'm glad that Tony, you could take some time out of your day to share that story with us and with our viewers. Tony Stillman, he is our technical director here at the AMA. Thank you, Tony, for taking some time out of your day to join us on the show.
Thanks, guys. It's fun. Good talking to you.
Thanks for sharing, Tony.
Sure.
And guys, with that, we're going to switch over to talking about our Club of the Month for the month of October. We announced the October Club of the Month on the last episode of AMA Air, the Red River RC Flyers. We wanted to take a little bit of time out of today's show to tell you a little bit about the Red River RC Flyers. They were founded back in 1971 in East Grand Forks, Minnesota. While the club unfortunately lost their field in 2001 due to a major flood, the club was finally reestablished back in 2015 by 6 local pilots. And today, the nearly 50 pilots of the club have regained a permanent flying site with a 900-foot grass runway, as well as a 330-foot geotextile runway. And while site development is still in progress, their hope is to add a pavilion, safety fencing, and indoor storage for equipment. Each year, the Red River RC Flyers host a variety of events, including Pattern and Fun Scale, as well as their annual Indoor International Fun Fly. They also invite their local Cub Scout pack to use their field for a rocket launch day, and they also participate in the AMA Introductory Pilot Program. Now, the Grand Forks metro area is also home to the Grand Forks Air Force Base and has since become a major hub in the UAS industry for commercial use as well. In addition, the University of North Dakota is one of their premier aerospace schools in the country for both manned and unmanned aircraft. The Red River RC Flyers have worked with the university for the last 3 years, helping provide training for students. And in the last year, they've begun working with commercial entities as well. We want to throw out a huge thank you and congratulations to the Red River RC Flyers for all of the amazing work that they do for this hobby and for being named the October Club of the Month. Congratulations to the Red River RC Flyers. And if you guys want to learn more about the Red River RC Flyers and our other clubs of the month, you can go to modelaircraft.org/clubs, where we've got links there, some stories about them, and you can also find clubs in your area as well with our AMA Club Finder. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the IFLY AMA stories of the week and a lot more. So stick around. We'll be right back right after this. Make STEM education energizing and fun with the AMA's International UAS for STEM competition. This challenging team event is a great way to experience the exciting world of unmanned aerial vehicles. Teams start with ground school, then present at semifinals showcasing their unique builds and designs. Top scoring semifinalists receive an invitation to compete at EAA Oshkosh Air Venture 2022. Sponsorship opportunities are available. Find out more by visiting uasforstem.org. Said, are you ready? Are you ready for IFLY AMA? Yeah, that's right. I love that song. It is time for the IFLY AMA segment of the show. It's my favorite part of the show. I know it's your guys' favorite part of the show, so let's get into it. First of all, if you guys are not yet members of the IFLY AMA Facebook group, we would encourage you to head over to facebook.com/groups/IFLY AMA to join today. You click that little join button, answer a couple of questions so we make sure that you're not a robot, and then you can come join us in the community where we have so much fun talking about all the amazing stuff going on around our hobby. And I am so excited, Lee, to hear about what you've got going on in the IFLY AMA Facebook group this week. Because I think I got a sneak preview, and I think it might be another event you attended.
It is. Get comfortable. You got a drink there, Matt?
I'll
try not to run into.
I've got my water.
I'll try not to take away your time from Jay Smith, but everybody get comfortable. Once upon a time, I feel bad, but I bet it's just a story behind it. But the IFLY AMA post I picked was mine. Guilty as charged. But I wanted to share with you this wonderful story because it's awesome, and I really hope that other people will tell us if their wings over their community do the same thing. This is Wings Over Houston. It's been going around for 37 years. I've probably been going for 35. And it's an amazing event held at Ellington Field near Clear Lake, just next to NASA. So there's a lot of NASA planes that fly in and out there because some military planes. And I love to go there and take photos. There's some really cool things you can do. Matt, you would love this. They have a sunrise photo session and a pit pass you can have, so you can get up there early, like at 6 a.m. to get the sunrise on the warbirds, and then head over to your own little spot where they have lunch and bleachers just for photographers.
Now, see, you've got me in a situation where I'm of two minds because opportunities to take amazing photographs, I'm in. When you start talking about 6 a.m., however, I am not a morning person, so I don't know. Maybe I'll have to just stay up all night and do it that way.
It's worth it. Just if you find one near you, it's so worth it. But this year I went knowing full well I was taking my youngest son, Ryan. And something that happened within the last month or two is that I'm familiar with this RC demo that they do at Wings Over Houston in the morning. And they were looking for an announcer. And I mentioned Fitz Walker, who's also a co-host on our podcast. There he is. There's my buddy Fitz. And he was asked to MC the demo event. So we head up over there. We meet him at the little static demo for RC airplanes. And I want to do a shout out for Randy Martin. He has been in charge of the Houston area RC team out there. When it first started, it was just static display of model aircraft. And then he upped it to where they're allowed to fly for, almost an hour, starting at 10 a.m. because none of the regular flights start till afternoon. And this year they asked if I wanted to go on the tarmac with them, and I did. So it's
nice.
of course. So it's something I've never had a chance to do before. So here I am on the runway with these guys flying the airplanes. I mean, if you're a pilot and you've got planes like this is the perfect field to fly at. And if only we were allowed to use some of the pyrotechnics out in the field for Tora Tora Tora, would have been just more amazing. But this is really cool, and this is a great shot. A PT-19 over F-16s. the Thunderbirds put on a great show. As they always do. Oh, they do. So a question I have for those of you out there, I will say I'm a native Texan. I live in Houston, so Wings Over Houston is pretty much the only full-scale air show event I go to or attend. I'd like to know if there are other clubs or other groups that host a model aircraft either booth or if they have actual flying demo at their Wings Over. So let us know in the comments, or especially the comments because you're watching this. So let us know. Oh, the Flying Witch, just a little plug right here. it's always around Halloween. So they have this little flying witch that they flow around. It's great. The kids love it. And I think you want to add something to that, Matt.
Yeah, we actually have a version of this, Sandy, the flying witch, over in our National Model Aviation Museum, as well as a flyby episode that was recorded a couple of years ago on that same model. You guys can find that over in our modelaircraft.org/flyby. There you go. Sandy the Flying Witch. So yeah, when I saw those in your photos, and I was like, oh, we totally have one of those over here.
It's so cute. It's just it's a fun little thing. The kids are just so entertained. And I think, and this is even better, if I could just get the audio from that, Fitz was making a witch cackle. It was the funniest thing.
Can we put that on a soundboard? I think that would be fantastic.
It was great. So that was my iFly AMA page post. And again, I get a big shout out to those guys who, in fact, I see some comments in the section right now that are saying some people do that. That's a great way to get these youth involved. We're talking about building. We're talking about these youth that are getting started building little models, but there are so many kids going to these air shows. And if they can just see that they can build smaller versions and fly it themselves, what a great way to get into this hobby and get stuck.
The Culpeper Air Fest has an RC air show in Virginia, and EAA has Jace Ducia do a demo. Jace is somebody who's done, worked with the AMA for a long time, and an incredible pilot.
I will say that the RC, because I was at AirVenture, the RC event that happened there, the two that I saw were either at the ultralight section or during the night flying event where they had two planes. And I actually have some photos of that on my Raviation page of them decked out in lights and flying. And it's a really nice thing. But this was like, for me, this is a really long RC demo, and it's like perfect timing to be in the morning.
Yeah. Darren Hudson mentioned, he said, air show and airport outreach are great opportunities for modeling, and we do several in District 1. Absolutely. They are. Yeah, and Darren does a lot of hard work out there in District 1, so we appreciate all his work that he does. He says, we've done air show and aviation day outreaches for years with Simbu, statics, giant scales, and jets. And I got to believe those are attracting a lot of eyeballs, and specifically from youth who see that stuff and immediately want to know how they can get involved in any type of aviation, quite frankly. And so it's awesome to see you guys out there doing that outreach. That's a lot of great work that you guys are putting in.
I'm going to do a quick request. If you guys have photos from those events or things you've attended where there is RC flying going on at the time, send those photos to me. You can actually email those to me at leray@modelaircraft.org or post them on our iFly AMA page.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to see that stuff that you guys got going on for sure. So I'm going to switch over to my story that I found for this episode. And this post was shared by Bob Lipman. He is from the North Country Flying Tigers Model Airplane Club. And this is about geotextile runways. You guys may hear us talk about geotextile runways on occasion when we talk about club fields. And it's a fancy word for a fabric runway. And it's one of those things where I think people don't realize how versatile and how inexpensive these things can be. And it's a great way to upgrade from just a regular old grass runway at your club field. And, they've got some amazing photos here showing some work that they've got going on with their geotextile runway. He said, many thanks to the work crew that assembled yesterday to pull back the Geotex runway in anticipation of delivery of crushed stone to level and repair the club's runway. Now, this is the important part. It only took them an hour to pull up the staples and roll back the fabric from the middle to the edges, and then the volunteers spent the rest of the day flying. I mean, it's perfect. Spend an hour of work, and then you can go back to flying. I think that's great. So big thanks to Bob Littman for sharing that post, and kudos out there to the North Country Flying Tigers Model Airplane Club for the hard work they're putting in at their club field, especially with all of their volunteers that they have.
Yeah. I've seen some runways that are questionable, so good for them to level it out, smooth it out.
Absolutely. And we want to let you guys know that U.S. Fabrics is an official partner of AMA, providing a $25 discount on the purchase of 2 or more rolls of fabric. To access that discount code, you'll need to be logged into the AMA site. You can go to modelaircraft.org/benefits to learn more. I would certainly encourage you guys to check that out and take advantage if you can. The cover photo contest is the other thing we wanted to mention to you guys for the iFly AMA section of the show. We've got the cover photo contest for the month of November is ongoing. Is that right?
Yep. It's up there. Our October one's up there now, but we have until the end of the month to submit. So there is a post under featured in the iFly AMA group. And it's basically it's where you place your photos. And there's a handful of photos right now, but you still have a chance. So get those really creative photos in there, and we'll count them up, and we'll have an announcement in November.
Again, I just love seeing all the amazing photos you guys share. It's always one of my favorite things throughout the month to do. Darren shared his a Facebook group there for AMA District 1. He said you can scroll through for all of their outreach activity. I would encourage you guys to do that because they do some amazing stuff out there in District 1. So thank you, Darren, for sharing that with us. We wanted to let you guys know that we talked a little bit earlier about the AMA Plan Service discount, rather. Boy, I couldn't come up with that word. Okay. Discount we have going on through the month of October. Again, if you go to the modelaircraft.org/plans and use the code AMA20 at checkout, you can get 20% off of your plans until October 31st, I think through October 31st. But there's another thing you guys can take advantage of. If you want to start your holiday shopping early, and I know some of you do like to do that, you can head over to shop.modelaircraft.org to find some amazing AMA branded swag for you or your loved ones. You can start your holiday shopping early, and if you use the code YOURHOBBY21 from now through the end of the year, you can get 10% off of your order. We've got some awesome shirts in there. There's an AMA clock. There's some mugs. There's some hats. All sorts of stuff. I would encourage you to go check out.
I'm going to interject and just let everybody know I've got a lot of the stuff that's there. When I went to IAC for Camp AMA, I filled a bag with a lot of goodies. And I will say that if Dylan scrolls back to those red and shirts like that right there, they're very comfortable. So those are, yes. I'm giving thumbs up for those shirts. So they're really nice, guys.
I know it sounds like we're just shilling for our own products, but I mean they are really comfortable shirts. So I would if you're on the fence, I would gently nudge you in that direction. So
exactly.
Again, if you use the code YourHobby21 at checkout through the end of the year, you can get 10% off of your order. So get your holiday shopping started early for you and your loved ones over at shop.modelaircraft.org. The last thing we wanted to mention to you guys is Model Aviation Live with Jay Smith is happening in just about 28 minutes. We normally have Jay on the show here on AMA Air on the 15th of the month, but because his show Model Aviation Live also happened to fall on this same day, we decided we're going to wait and let him talk about the November issue of Model Aviation over on his show, where we're going to show you the cover of the November issue and tell you a little bit about what you can find in there. And we also have Michael Smith as a guest on the show to talk a little bit about the AMA Plan Service. Michael Smith is our National Model Aviation Director, and he kind of heads up the Plan Service over there at the museum. So he's going to talk a little bit about it and things you can find through the AMA Plan Service, and maybe some tips and tricks to navigate it and that sort of thing. So if you are interested in joining us over there at Model Aviation Live with Jay Smith, just go head over to modelaviation.com/live in just about 27 minutes. That's 3 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll be going live on the air with Jay. It's going to be a fun show, so we encourage you to head over and join us in the chat and ask questions and interact. It'll be a lot of fun. But with that, that's all we have for this episode of AMA Air. Lee, thank you so much for joining us once again. I know it was twisting your arm to get you back over here and drag you away from all the amazing events you got to go to.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're just lucky I didn't leave today. I actually have an event this weekend, so I stayed for you, Matt. I stayed for you.
So what event are you going to this weekend?
Well, we're getting ready for the huge Round Top RC Expo. That's November 11th. I think we've mentioned it before. And so our last meeting is this Saturday, where we're prepping everything for the final push. And so that, again, November 11th through the 13th is the Round Top RC Expo. You can find it on our event page on the AMA Facebook page.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, we'll look forward to hearing more about that later. And if you enjoyed today's episode, we'd love it if you give us a thumbs up down there, like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. You can click that little notification bell to let you know, or get notified rather, when we go live. And if you're not yet a member of the AMA, we'd love to go head over to modelaircraft.org/join to learn a little bit more about what the AMA can do for you. And of course, if you're already a member, thank you so much for your support. And we love having you part of our community and our family. So with all that being said, it's time to wrap this up. Lee, again, thank you for coming on and helping out today. And for everybody here at the AMA, we appreciate you watching. We'll see you guys next time.